Right now on Hoosier News Source, a group on campus is taking steps to combat fake news on social media.
And we have more on a deadly bus accident.
And I have cooler temperatures, what to expect for our IU women's volleyball games, as well as our first look at the first week of October. Hoosier News Source starts now.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier News Source. I'm Lexi Vanetti.
And I'm Andrew Lamparski.
We start off our show with some breaking news. A federal court ruled that the man convicted of killing IU student Jill Berman in 2006 should be released from prison unless the state calls for a retrial. Berman disappeared during a bike ride in 2000 and her remains weren't found until 2003. John Mayers II was convicted and sentenced to 65 years for murder. A judge authorized his release after he argued that his counsel was ineffective and that the state provided false evidence against him. You can follow updates on this story via our Twitter page at IUSTV News. Tragedy struck through the community on Thursday morning when a Bloomington bus hit and killed a pedestrian. The accident took place on South Walnut Street, just in front of the Bloomington Transit Center. The Bloomington Police Department and Bloomington Transit are currently investigating the exact cause of the accident. Police have not released the name or age of the victim, but they did say she was a woman.
Fake news is a term we've become all too familiar with recently. A group on campus has created software that can be used to detect misinformation on Twitter. BotSlayer is a new program created by IU at the Observatory on Social Media. The research center focuses on the spread of misinformation online. The software has the ability to detect if something on Twitter was sent out by online bots. These tools could possibly help pick out false information online during the upcoming election cycle. According to Ben Surrett, a contributor to the software, the program was designed with journalists in mind.
For any kind of coordinated campaigns, a lot of our projects focus on bots, so we kind of combined the bots, the bot detection with coordination detection, so it's mostly used for finding botnets.
Other companies outside of IU have shown interest in the product, including the New York Times and the Associated Press. To use the software, you need to sign an agreement with BotSlayer. But from what we've heard, we're excited to see what the Observatory on Social Media has next. We have some good news for the city of Bloomington. A new report by the Indiana Department of Workplace Development shows a nearly 2% increase in employment over the past year. That means the Bloomington area added over 2,000 jobs between August 2018 and August 2019. This comes after last year's report showed a net loss in local employment. The full report is available on in.gov/DWD.
The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention says that on average there are 129 suicides per day. Last Sunday, Hoosiers and volunteers participated in the Out of the Darkness Walk to raise awareness and funding for suicide prevention.
Memorial Stadium was packed this weekend, but the fans were not sporting cream and crimson. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention held the Out of the Darkness Walk to raise awareness and funds toward suicide prevention. Families, volunteers, and even pets walked in support of their loved ones impacted by suicide.
After our brother John died by suicide, and I started getting more involved with suicide prevention and awareness, and I was so surprised to see so many people. Like, it's beautiful and sad all at once that everybody coming together to support each other.
Participants joined teams and fundraised to help ASFP invest in new research, create educational programs, advocate for public policy, and support survivors of suicide loss. Overall, this event was held to help those who are struggling.
Definitely. I think seeing a bunch of other people who have gone through it, not only gone through it, but like have experienced the same things that I've experienced, really show how big of an issue it is and show how people actually do care.
Participants receive honor beads, which is a visual representation that they are not alone. Each color provides a story of why they walk, like teal, which is in support of those who have attempted suicide or are currently struggling.
ASFP has set a goal to reduce the annual suicide rate by 20% by 2025, and events like these contribute to that decreased rate. This year, about $24,698 was raised through walkers and donors, which is one step closer to this goal. For Hoosier News Source, I'm Lexi Vanetti.
And to see the results of this year's Out of the Darkness Walk, go to afsp.com or follow Out of the Darkness Walks on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. October kicks off the start of Breast Cancer Research and Awareness Month. 1 in 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer. Hoosiers are reminded to get yearly checkups in order to make pink just a color again.
It can be hard enough to find a place to park around Bloomington, but with recent changes to parking rules, it may be even harder soon. Parking enforcement for multiple streets in Bloomington will start later in the day and end later into the night, going from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Garage parking permit rates for the city are also increasing anywhere from $10 to $30 per permit. Fees for traffic violators may also increase anywhere from $20 to $50 per offense. Parking meters will remain at the regular price of $1 an hour with a 30-cent fee for Visa and MasterCard users.
Coming up, Joe Cantor tells us in studio all about sports this week.
And Caroline Clare joins us in studio to tell us if fall weather is on its way. Stay with us. Welcome back. Some relief from the heat may be headed our way. Caroline Clare joins us now with a detailed look at this week's forecast. Caroline?
Thanks, Andrew. It looks like we will finally have some cooler temperatures coming our way. As you can see, there will be a low pressure system just to the north of us, dropping temperatures as it passes through early Thursday and bringing with it a small chance for rain. Luckily, these cooler temperatures will be sticking around for our IU women's volleyball games this weekend. Friday, a gorgeous sunny day with a high of 67 and a low chance for precipitation as our Hoosiers take on Illinois. And on Saturday, those beautiful temperatures and weather will continue. A high of 72, partly sunny, the small chance of rain as our IU women's volleyball team faces Northwestern. Both games are at 7 o'clock, and if you plan on attending, make sure just to bring a light jacket will be sufficient. Now, let's take a look at our extended outlook. If we look at this weekend, another system will be coming through, keeping the temperatures at a low, but also bringing with it a small chance of rain. So if we see Saturday, we'll have a high of 72 and a 30% chance of rain. Going into early next week, we have a high of 72 on Sunday and another cloudy day with a high with 30% chance of rain. And then going early into next week, we'll have a small chance of rain for Monday and Tuesday as the front comes through, dropping the temperatures, but making this dry September going into a moist October. And it looks like with these cooler temperatures, it's going to be starting to feel like fall here in Bloomington. Lexi, back to you.
Thanks, Caroline. It was a close game this weekend for IU football. Our sports reporter Joe Cantor joins us live in studio to talk about IU's performance. Joe?
It was another big weekend for Indiana men's soccer team as they played host to Sacramento State. We picked up Friday night at Bill Armstrong Stadium. The Hoosiers and the Hornets line up, and we are underway. The fans going nuts out there supporting their Hoosiers. Took IU a while to get on the board in this one. A couple big-time saves from Sac State's keeper Ryan Curtis. But in the 75th minute, the ball finds its way to the center of the box and to Joshua Penn, who slams the one-timer past the crossbar and right past the keeper. The Hoosiers win this one 1-0. The Indiana football team had a huge matchup against the number 25 ranked Spartans of Michigan State. East Lansing was the side of this one, and Mike Penix had himself a day. Hoosiers down 7-0, and Penix delivers a shot 28 yards to Whop Fillier. Hoosiers tie it up at 7. Then later, down 14-7, Penix again, this time takes it himself on the naked bootleg, and we are tied at 14-all. Spartans turn now. I told you this one was back and forth. Brian Lewerke finds Daryl Stewart on a 26-yard hookup. Spartans take the lead back 21-14. But in the second half, IU takes the lead back. Penix to Donovan Hale. What a catch. Let's take a slower look at this one. IU would go up 24-21. This one, though, came down to the last possession. But the last points in this shootout go to the Spartans. They win it 40-31 in East Lansing. Heartbreak for the Hoosiers. Lexi and Andrew, back to you guys. That's all for sports this week.
You know, it was a close game, but at least they have the week off to rest.
Right, and they also have the week to practice until they come back to Bloomington for homecoming.
Exactly. Before we go, all of us here at Hoosier News Source want to wish our friend Lexi Vanetti a happy 21st birthday. Thanks for spending your birthday with us, Lexi.
Thank you.
With that, thanks so much for watching this week's episode of Hoosier News Source.
To learn more about this week's stories, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IUSTV News.
I'm Andrew Lamparski.
And I'm Lexi Vanetti. From Bloomington, Indiana, we'll see you next time.